Hello and welcome back everyone to Master Blender 3D with Wild West environment. In the last lesson we left ourselves off with some base table and chairs, stools to make use out of. Now we can go ahead and check the bar. If we have a look at one of the images, it's going to have this sort of a setup just above the waistline. It's going to be over here and we need to have enough space to place all of these bottles like so. And whilst at the same time leaving enough space for a person or someone to walk in and actually do a bartender job. So let's go ahead and start off by just creating a simple cube, getting some nice dimensions out of the way. Let's think about the scale of this. If we have a look at it, it's not actually too much wider in comparison. It might be a bit harder to see, but in comparison to the human, it's just a little bit extra wider in comparison to its hips. So let's go ahead and just compare it real quick, see how that would look like and see what we can do with it. So I think, let's see, I think that's too much. Let's go ahead and make this smaller and maybe a bit bigger. There's plenty of space to walk past as well. All is good. This seems all right. Are the bottles, the question is, are the bottles going to be going past all right? Maybe a bit thicker. There you go, plenty of space. Everything is good. We can leave this as is and then work with the shelf later, making a mirror and whatnot, adding bottles and all of that good stuff. But now we know that we do have enough space. In case you don't have enough space, the easiest way to fix that would be, well, would be a bit of a cheeky way. If you'd like, you could select all of these objects, then go on to edit mode, click 1, click Alt Z to go into wireframe mode, select all of these parts, and then you can click G, Y, and then kind of extend it as much as you want. The downside of this is that origin points are going to be moved off, but we're not really worried about them because it's simply as a gray box. We're just going for quick, cheeky way of just moving everything around, making sure that all the proportions, all the items and all of the sizing just makes sense in the environment. That's where the brain starts picking up all of that stuff in regards to that. I want to really quick check in the front section. So we have an entrance. You can see like this is the staircase and the entrance is a little bit off whilst giving us some space between the shelves. So we got to decide on the width of the shelf because right now I think it's a little, no, you know what? That's actually all right. It's perfect. I'm going to make sure I duplicate this to figure out where the door would go. And if we look again back onto the reference, compared to the human scale, it's going to be, well, slightly wider. Let's say where the hands end. That's a good place for it to be. So I'm going to just go ahead and think about the width. There you go, something like that. Perfect. And yeah, we're going to leave that extra bit of space in between this, maybe make this a little bit, you know, smaller. Going to turn off the X-ray vision so we don't see through the parts. And I think something like this is perfect. I want to leave that same amount of space between left side and right side. I think that's quite reasonable, just to have that additional bit of small symmetry in the setup. Yeah, that looks quite nice. All right. I'm going to go ahead and make a quick duplicate out of this cube as well, just as a quick reminder that we do have something in here, and that something is going to be, if we shape it a little bit, oh, SX, there we go. And I'm going to select the top, E, extrude again, SX, there we go, coffin shape. Aha, we got ourselves a nice setup. I'm going to rotate it a little bit, just like in the reference. Like so, not too worried about the scale or anything of the sort. Although I do worry about the scale, I'm going to shrink it down a little bit, then rotate it. Oh, RY, there we go. And Yeah, that's quite okay for the setup. Of course, there's going to be an additional beam going up on the side, maybe quite a bit smaller, but all in all, it's going to just help to stabilize this piece, just like that. We can think about the positioning. It's not too important because no other parts are going to go next to this piece. I think that's quite all right. We now need to think about how the interaction of the front is a little bit more. So we have these two stools. We also are going to have a place for the horse to drink. So if we look at it from a top-down view, we have this piece over here, which we can create it super easily. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to grab a cylinder, GY, and then RY. Yeah, there we go. Scale it down like so, extended SX, like this. Then duplicate, escape, RY90, GX. Scale it outwards a little bit to make it thicker, SZ. Something like this, as a base is more than enough, like this, to consider where we're going to put it. I'm going to select all of these pieces, click Ctrl J to join everything up, and now we can think about the scaling and the overall setup. So this is going to be around here, maybe a little bit smaller, and actually quite a bit wider, but we can work on with that. Yeah, let's see from the top-down view. We want this to be going inwards a little bit, quite a bit. I think that's, you know what, that's okay. I'm quite happy with this. We can move it down a little bit and then think about all of it later. But we do need to elongate it. We need to extend it a little bit. We can't just simply extend it like this because it's just going to ruin the cylinders. I'm going to go on to edit mode, click 1, Alt Z, select these parts, GX, and to a reasonable amount. Then we're going to have something for the base. I'm going to create a new cylinder, move it down like so, to make sure we know that this is a place for horses to drink. I'm going to extend this. You know what? I'm just going to extend this part like this, so we know exactly what's going on with this part. And maybe the bottom piece needs to be a little bit thinner. So just the base is going to be more than enough. And you know what? I will just extrude inwards. There we go. Something like this. And shade auto smooth. So we could have, yeah, we could have a bit of a nicer part. But we're not shade smoothing. We can do that all as well, all in one go. Shade auto smooth. It doesn't really matter at this point. I just like it for the preview. I'm going to go on to render view and see how this looks like. Perhaps at this point we can start playing around with the lighting a little more, seeing how it is designed and whatnot. But all in all, I am quite happy with this result. We just need to think about additional parts. These parts would be rocks, cactuses, as well as, well, the wagon is, if we click Alt and H, we can bring everything back. The wagon is going to be on this part, but all of these that we see outside, they can be easily set up, and they're not really dependent. Their scale, their shape, they're not really dependent on what's going on with the main building itself. We had to mainly set up with the logistics of the overall proportions for the building, which I think we did. So we can continue on with the modeling process. So thank you so much for watching, and I will be seeing you in a bit.